Knicks fans, what's popping? It's your boy, Simeon Russell, coming at you with nothing but Knicks. We just seen the New York Knicks pull off a very nice win, and we about to get into this real live right now. Let's go. And there you go, the intro to Melo's return to the Garden. I want to know what you guys think about that intro. You said Melo was washed, huh? Well, I don't know. We'll see. You know, there's a lot going on with OKC, but I do like the intro that the Knicks gave to Melo tonight. I think it was well deserved. I think that I think the Knicks were classy about it. The Garden gave him a pretty good ovation. It was mixed a little bit, you know what I mean? A couple of boos here and there, but hey, what you gonna do? That's cool, right? All I know is it was deserved. It was a good intro. The Garden received them. Melo received it. We can get past it, and we can move on to just playing basketball at the Garden and not have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he did try to show off a little bit. You know, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? You know what I mean? I think that they wanted to try to showcase him a little bit since he was returning back to the Garden. But what are you gonna do? It was kind of a rough game for him, but I think it has to do with what's going on in OKC as a whole. When you look at them, man, they don't look good as a team. I'm sure they'll find a way to get it together because they have so much talent, but they don't look good as a team. You know what I mean? They just look really, really, really out of sorts. You know, they look really out of sorts. But the Knicks look good though. The Knicks look like a team. And I'm gonna get to some things first, but if you see up at the top of the screen up here, see if I can get over there. You see up at the top of the screen right here, it says stars versus chemistry. I want to talk about that a lot, but we're gonna get to some of these other things first. But I do want to say big shout to Melo. I respect everything that he did in New York, even though it wasn't what we expected. I respect it. I like Melo. I think he gave a lot to the city. He's still part of the city. Maybe everything didn't work the way that we thought it was going to work. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, we expected a little bit more out of Melo than what he really was. And I don't think that the Knicks put the right pieces around Melo. And I'm not saying that Carmelo was perfect. He definitely wasn't a perfect player for the Knicks. You know, he did stop the ball. Sometimes he didn't play the best defense. But he also didn't have the type of players around him that would motivate him. You know what I'm saying? And he should be self-motivated. But when you got players around you that are working, you're going to work with them. And, Melo was stuck in a tough situation. It was the fault of both parties, Melo and the team, I think. I guess the split was needed. It was necessary for Melo and for us. But I still got a lot of love for Melo. And if towards the end of his career, if he came back and wanted to retire Nick, I would have no problems with it at all. I really wouldn't. But as it is right now, he's in OKC. The Knicks got a team that's looking good. And we need to get on and worry about the New York Knicks. Because now we're done with OKC. Whatever happens with OKC happens. Maybe he'll probably come back. I'm sure he's going to come back to the Garden next year. We won't have all this fanfare around it. We'll be able to just focus on playing. We won the trade, says Christian Voto. You know what? Looking at it right now, we may have won that trade. I'm not even gonna say may. We won that trade. Um, I mean, you look at the production. I mean, if you just compare it to tonight, I think we'll pull up the stats in a little bit and look at the stats. But if you look at what Kanter did and what Dougie Fresh did tonight, their stats together compared to Melo heavily outweighs what Melo did tonight. You know what I'm saying? And we got a second round pick out of it. Yeah, we probably won the trade because even if we didn't get the best player in the trade, if Melo was the best player in that trade right now, we still have to see because, Melo's not looking like Melo of even 2 years ago or even last year right now. He can have some hot nights, but, a lot of it is based on what's going on in OKC. They're trying to figure some things out. New Money Street, appreciate it, brother. But right now, the guys that we got look like, they're young, they're hooping, they're hungry, they want to prove themselves in the NBA, and we definitely made the right move. We definitely made the right move. 16-13, and we're looking good. We're looking like we can make a push to the playoffs. We still got a tough January coming up, but we're looking like it's possible for us to make a push to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So big shout to the New York Knicks tonight. I want to take a look at, I'm going to pull this on over here. I want to take a look at some stats from tonight and, just talk about this game a little bit. Talk about what we did well because I think we did a lot of things well tonight. A lot of things well, especially with Porzingis and Hardaway being out. That already was going to be a tough task for us, but we stepped up to the plate. Guys like Beasley, guys like Courtney Lee stepped up to the plate. So I'm going to bring this on over here so we can take a look at what's going on tonight, what went on tonight. All right, so let's take a look at the game tonight. OKC's biggest lead was 6. Our biggest lead was 15, and of course we pulled to that lead during the end of the game. They actually out-rebounded us without Steven Adams, but Enes Kanter didn't look as good tonight as he usually does. He had a couple of buckets early, but he didn't look as good as he usually does. And he's hurt, so we probably got to keep watching. And as Kanter, he may need to he may need to rest a little bit. What do you guys think about that? We know the story the other day on how he came in. He came into the game with crutches, played the game, left on crutches. If we are going to make it to the playoffs, push to the playoffs, does Kanter need to rest? Tell me that. And while you guys are telling me that, I'm going to answer a couple of these things I've seen up there. I seen someone just ask about Melo, if Melo regrets being in New York or the trade. I don't think so. It just became so toxic. And the stress that was on Melo, the stress that was on the team, I think that he needed to go, regardless if Phil Jackson was here, regardless if what was happening. It was just time. It was too toxic for everyone. He gets rest every fourth quarter. Yeah, that's true. But he's still out there putting some pressure on his back. He hasn't been looking like he can move as well the last few games. So we play Charlotte on next game we play versus Charlotte. I don't know if you rest him. I guess we have a few days to see how he feels, but he may need to rest a little bit, I think. Kanter can rest in the Hornets game. Right, Mighty Knicks. That could be something that we might need to do for him because he's not moving well. He's not moving well at all. The only thing Melo should regret is putting this team of all the assets it had when the trade first went down. Hey, you know what? Honestly, Melo can't regret that because Melo didn't make the trade. You know what I'm saying? The team made that trade. So the team easily could have said, Dolan could have said, we're gonna wait. If he wants to go to Brooklyn, let him go, but we're gonna wait until the summer. They could have said that, but the team didn't. So you can't really blame Melo for that. At the time, the league was about to go into a lockout, and it was like, no one knew what was going to happen during the lockout. So Melo was like, I need to get my money. I need to get my guaranteed money. And I'm the type of person, I never blame someone for getting their money. You get your money when you can because it's not going to last, right? For example, his next contract, Melo's not going to get a $28 million a year contract. So you get your money when you can. And the situation there was Melo wanted to be traded so that he can be extended before the lockout to make sure that he got his guaranteed money. Now, some people will say that's selfish. I don't call that selfish. To me, you got to do what you got to do to get your money now, especially when you're an athlete, because your career can end at any minute. So you got to get your money. So that was really the situation in that lockout. The reason why Melo wanted to trade now and didn't want to wait until free agency. That was the situation with that trade. I'm sorry. Melo didn't want to wait till free agency, and I don't blame him. He wanted to get what he had to get now. But enough about Melo. I want to keep talking about this game. All right, because we had a really good game. We capitalized off turnovers, another sign of growth. Yes, James Wills, we definitely did. We capitalized off those turnovers. We only had 13 turnovers tonight. We took care of the ball. We had 13 turnovers, but 7 or 8 of those turnovers came in the first quarter. That means for the rest of the game, we really took care of the ball. And that was a key. When we spoke about this game in the last stream, we talked about the Knicks really needed to take care of the ball, and they did. They took care of the basketball because we didn't want OKC to get out and running. That's the last thing that we wanted from them. So we did it. We definitely did a good job taking care of the basketball. We had 21 assists. OKC had 18 assists. 3 blocks. OKC had 7 blocks. Them guys, they get up, they block the ball, man. They definitely do. Beasley used more than 7% of his brain tonight. I'm sure he did. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Let's check out the box score a little bit. Go to the Knicks. Lance Thomas did his usual, 6 points, couple of rebounds. Michael Beasley, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Nice all-around game. Yeah, Baker did. He played great defense tonight. He played a good game, especially in the first half. Hornacek seems he has his rotations. Yeah, Justin, he seems especially with Hardaway being out, it took a little while, but it seems like he's falling into understanding what his rotations are. So that's a good thing. And then he kind of understands that with when KP is out, that Michael Beasley can come in and ease that scoring load. So yeah, he is understanding his rotations. Jasper Bingham, I see you said that you disagree with me about that Melo trade. That's cool. I'm glad. I like to have a little bit of debate. Um, and you are right. The Knicks could have had a lot of assets, right? But the Knicks didn't have to pull the trigger on the trade. They didn't have to. I mean, how can you really blame Melo? The Knicks had all the power in the world to say, I'm not going to trade for this guy right now. It was up to them. They made the call to make the trade, not Melo. Melo didn't call up James Dolan and say, make this trade right now. James Dolan said, we're going to make this trade right now. So how can you really blame Melo? Could Melo have waited until the summer? Yes. But let me ask you, if you were in that situation and a lockout was looming, you knew a lockout was coming, and the collective bargaining agreement wherever you work was going to change, and you could either find a way to sign your extension now so that your money was guaranteed, or you could wait, go through the lockout, not knowing what's going to happen with the contract situations and the collective bargaining agreement, and then sign a contract. What would you do? I know if it was me, I would try to secure my future first. That's what I would do. I mean, we love basketball, and we're all passionate about it, but when we're talking about the NBA, it comes down to business. That's what it is. It's business. And, everyone is going to secure their money first, right? That's just what it is. Guys are going to secure their money, and you can't blame them for that. Can't blame them for securing their dollars. So let's get back to the Knicks, though. Enough about Melo. He's no longer a New York Knick. He may be a New York Knick, once a Knick, forever a Knick, but not tonight. He's an OKC. He's a Thunder, and we're talking New York Knicks right now. So I want to stick with the Knicks now. So let's see what we got up here. Quinn plays tough. He and Kanter really are showing the 90s Knicks attitude. The Unicorns Knicks, I agree with you, and I love it. It's definitely something that we've been missing, and we've been needing it. And they're playing with that kind of aggressiveness, that kind of toughness, and is going throughout the whole team. It's going throughout the whole team, and we gotta love it. So let's finish looking at these stats tonight. You had we mentioned Beasley with 30 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Enes Kanter 10 points, 5 rebounds, 22 minutes. Courtney Lee, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Courtney Lee stepping up again. Give Beasley a no-trade clause. Right. Give Beasley a max contract. Okay. I'm glad that I know you guys are joking. I hope. Beasley might make $10 million a year. He might. And we'll talk about that a little bit. What we're going to do during the summer. Play tough defense. Well, let's see who else. Jarrett Jack, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Almost a triple-double for Jarrett Jack. Played really good tonight. And these type of games, Jarrett Jack knows how to get it done. Frank, I'm not going to say Frank was nervous. Got in foul trouble early. Didn't play the greatest of games. But you got a guy like Jack that knows how to get it done. All right, Kyle Quinn gave us a good game, 9.7 rebounds. Ron Baker, 11 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. And I forgot who it was. I just seen somebody that said Ron Baker might make me eat my words. He is. He's making me eat my words. But I'm cool with it, though. I'm cool with that. I love that. I love that he's making me eat my words. And I hope I get full. You know what I mean? Because he's hooping, and he's playing great defense. He's hooping, and he's doing it at a time when we really need him to do it. Tony Crow, Do you think we re-sign Beasley? Um, I think so. I think we should. I mean, Beasley's only 28 years old. You know what I'm saying? He's still got time to be uh, a good player. He may not never be a star player, um, but he's still got time to be a contributor in this league, and maybe just maybe he found a home with the Knicks and the type of offense that Jeff Hornacek runs. And also being a guy that he can coming off the bench, filling in spot minutes with the starters when KP is out. Beasley doesn't have to worry about much else but going ahead and scoring. So you can just throw him the ball and say, go get it. Do what you do. He doesn't have to think about so many other parts of the game, which I think is good for Beasley. So yeah, I think we do re-sign Beasley. Of course, what's the contract going to look like? New Money Street. How could the Knicks build on this chemistry and become a 55 to 60 win team in the near future? Well, I think one is to continue to have the chemistry. So, we have to be careful about what our moves are like in the future. I see a lot of guys say trade Courtney Lee. Wrong move, in my opinion. Courtney Lee is a good locker room guy, good culture guy that's good for your chemistry. You trade him, you don't know what you're getting back. So we keep Courtney Lee. We try to keep a lot of these guys here intact, but in order to get better, some guys are going to have to go. That's just how it happens. I think we need to add. I always say it. We need to add a legitimate 3-man that's long, that can play defense, that can shoot the ball, athletic. We need more athletes on the floor. And then I think it comes down to, we got to add to the bench. We need to, and we got some young guys that we can develop. So we got to add to the bench and develop our bench. And then we wait for our guys to develop, get older and get stronger. Because the more that hey, Tony Crow, see what you started, man? Yo, Black, it's time. That's what I'm talking about. Keep it there, everybody. Started with Tony, now it's ruminating down to everybody. I love it. But then we let the guys develop, continue to play in the same system. Right now, Jeff Hornacek is doing a good job. I think we need to stick with who we got and what we're doing and try to let this develop and grow. If all of a sudden we just jump out the window and say we want to, I know I supported Mark Jackson. A lot of other people support Mark Jackson. Well, right now is not the time to make those kind of changes. I think that, we stick with what we have and we let the team continue to grow. And I think we can move into that 55-60 win team, if we continue to do that. Okay, let's move on. Let me skip this on and talk about Be Easy. Keep talking about Michael Beasley a little bit because Michael Beasley has definitely been, he's been a savior for us, especially with KP being out. And, if we're being honest with ourselves as Knicks fans, we may always have a little bit of trouble with KP having injuries. So we're going to need a guy like Mike Beasley to be able to step into that spot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Marty, I want to know about O'Quinn Shorts too. But we're always going to need someone. I don't want to say always, but we may need a guy like Beasley around as security because, KP, at least for the next few years, he's still thin, kind of frail a little bit. And playing in the league puts a lot of pressure on your legs, on your knees, especially a guy that's small, that's thin, So, we need a guy like Beasley around. And he allows you to let KP rest up. He can. If you don't have a guy like Mike Beasley, then you might worry a little bit. You're like, man, you know, what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna get points? But when you got a guy like Beasley that's on your bench, you might not worry as much about letting KP rest a little bit. And another thing about Beasley has a certain mentality. What London? I just say the last part of your name, London. You just took the words out of my mouth. You said he said be easy is so calm. He's a silent killer, and he is. But also he has a little bit of that bravado that we need. You know what I'm saying? That where he feels like he's the best player on the floor, and he's not gonna have respect for everyone that steps on the floor with him. He has that kind of bravado, and you need that. Sometimes it's to his detriment. I will admit, because Beasley can, Beasley can get crazy a little bit sometimes. But you need the kind of bravado that Beasley brings to the team. And don't mind me, I'm just checking my audio a little bit to make sure it's right. Yeah, but you need the kind of bravado that he brings, because everyone on the squad doesn't have that, and he brings it. So I like that about Beasley. So he's not afraid when you get into these games with guys like Melo and Westbrook and Paul George. He feels like when he steps on the floor, he feels like I'm on par with these guys. These guys know who I am. These guys, they know what I can do on the floor, and they respect me. And you need a guy that feels like that. If you got a bunch of guys that are, that don't have that kind of bravado and feeling about them, then, then you might not step up and have that toughness to play in those type of games. Michael Beasley has that, so that's I like that about him. Michael Beasley is one of the most underrated players in the league. Christian Voto, he might be. He might be. Jacob, you was at the game live. What was the atmosphere like, man? How was it? There were times in the game after the intro when it kind of, lulled out a little bit, but once the game got moving and we got into that fourth quarter, it seemed like it was electric. How was it, bro? Congrats for being there. Next time, take some video and shoot it to me, man. We put it up. 30 points walking. Yeah, well, on one of his hot nights. We need the knowledge seeker. We need to get another shooter for the bench. I agree. We only have Beasley that can hit shots. Lou Williams might be a good option. I agree. We need somebody that can come in and be some instant offense for us. And I know some people are going to say, well, Dougie Fresh can do it. But I think we're talking about someone that, when we say someone that can come in and light it up, get off the bench, I think we're talking about someone that can come in and create his own thing. Dougie kind of needs teammates to create for him, right? Dougie, he scores off of cuts, coming off screens, pulling up, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's cool. We like that, because Dougie Fresh, he's one of the players that's creating this ball movement, man movement style of play. He's helping with that. But at times you need a guy that can just come in and go get you a bucket, and for Beasley to have a counterpart on the bench would be good. Someone like Lou Williams might work, as long as whoever we get, Trey Burke, maybe Trey Burke is that guy. Renee, Trey Burke might be that guy. As long as we are conscious of who we're bringing in and making sure we're bringing in guys that have the same mindset as the rest of the team. No one's that's going to come in and ruin our chemistry. That's important. That's one of the main things right there, is to keep our chemistry straight. Easy buckets was actually anticipating the PNR and defense. Yeah, yeah. Definitely. Who was that? Brian Osborne. Dougie Fresh is definitely getting better on defense. We see it. He's worked. Yes, London. He's worked a lot, and he's improving on defense. And it definitely helps that he's playing for Jeff Hornacek. I know in the beginning of the season, we read about how he and Jeff Hornacek had a little bit of history together. Their parents know each other, some things like that. So it's definitely a good thing that he's playing for Jeff Hornacek and he's coming into his own. Herb Beasley will, not sure. What's that, Justin Remedy? Herb Beasley will be celebrating what? I don't know. I'll come back to that. Is Dougie a free agent this summer? He is. The Knicks did not renew his contract. I think he was up for an extension. I'm gonna pull that up. I believe he was up for an extension, and they didn't renew it. They chose not to renew it. I guess they want to see what they have in them, and then make a decision in the summer. So let's check out. Let's check this out. Okay, I'm gonna pull up Hoops Hype. Shout out to Hoops Hype for always keeping us up to date on the team's salaries. This is who I always go to check out what's going on with the Knicks salaries and things. So let's take a look real fast. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see this on the screen. But Doug McDermott, he's making $3,294 this year, or next year he would be due $4,510,000, and that's a qualifying offer. All right. So if the Knicks decline to make him a qualifying offer, then yes, he will be a free agent. So we'll see what happens there. Michael Beasley is definitely a free agent at the end of this year, making the vet minimum this year. He's a free agent at the end of this year. So, we've definitely have some decisions to make. Beasley gets too much hate from people because of his weed usage. Well, from what we understand, he's off of it, as far as on the record. But that was that was early in his career, and he does get that. And the kind of demeanor that he holds, says to people that he's a weed smoker. I don't know. I don't really care. That's him. But it seems to me like maybe he's off of it, and he's got some things together. I know he went through some stuff earlier in his career, but hopefully he's past that. And you see, he stepped up to Stephen A. Smith this year, or this summer, and let him know, like, hey, that's in my past, man. Don't bring that out. Don't bring that out on me. So Beasley, maybe he's past it. He's got his daughters. I've seen some interviews where he talked about his daughters and his family and things like that. So let's hope he's, got his head on straight. How much would I pay Beasley? Whew, that's a good question. It's a really good question. Let me see something. Courtney Lee is making $11 million this year, $12 million next year, $12 million the year after that. Can Michael Beasley give us the same production as Courtney Lee consistently? What do you think? Do you think Beasley can continuously give us the kind of production that he's given us? I'm not expecting him to give us 30 a night, but can he average 14 and 5, 14 and 6? You saying give Beasley $4 million a year next year. If he continues to have nights like this, he's going to get more than $4 million a year. If Michael Beasley continues to, be able to come in and give us 30, it seems like he's beginning to, he might now have some consistent minutes because of what he's done. His minutes may become more consistent. And if his minutes remain consistent and he's getting 20 to 25 minutes a game, Beasley's going to average 15 points a game. And if he's averaging 15 points a game, you're not paying him $4 million. I don't think you do. I think you're giving him at least 10 if he's averaging 15 points a game. I guess we got to see what happens for the rest of this year, and then reevaluate that in the summer. $8 million a year, that might be fair for him. Give Sir Patrick Mack, give Beasley an incentive-laden contract. His talent is well known. His work ethic could take him to another level. You know what? That might be the ticket. That really might be the ticket because his talent is definitely well known. He was, he was regarded as one of the greatest things coming out of college. Number 2 pick behind Derrick Rose. And I mean, that was Derrick Rose in college, so you know why that is. But Michael Beasley was one of those guys that it was like, wow, this guy could be really be something special. And his work ethic maybe held him back. So maybe if he if he has an incentive-laden contract and he feels like, okay, I need to get out here and work so that I can pull in these incentives, maybe. That might be the ticket. That might be the ticket. He seems like the kind of guy that maybe needs that kind of motivation behind him. Now, I seen somebody say that Courtney Lee is not worth this money here. And I disagree with, I'm not sure who it was, but I disagree. I think Courtney Lee is definitely worth that $12 million. Courtney Lee right now, let's see what he's averaging for us. Let's take a look at Lee. Lee is averaging. Lee's giving us 13 points a game on 48% shooting from the field, 44.4% shooting from 3. Those are great numbers. We're not expecting Courtney Lee to be our star player. That's $10, $11, $12 million worth of production. This right here. That's $10, $11, $12 million worth of production. He's consistent. We can always depend on him to come in, play defense, and give us give us that 13 points a game. And then step up when guys are out. I think he's well worth it. He said we're already being held hostage behind Noah. Yeah, there's not much that we're going to be able to do with Noah's contract. We can't do anything with Noah right now. Noah's going to be with us for the long haul. We got 2 more years after this year, 2 more years left on his contract, right? Let's look at it. Joakim Noah, $17 million this year, $18 million next year, $19 million in 2019-2020. That's a heck of a contract for Joakim Noah right now. And, there's not much we can do about it. The only way that we get rid of Joakim Noah's contract is if we send out, a first-round pick with it. And I don't think it's worth it. I think we need to hold on to our first-round picks. 2 years, by the time Joakim Noah's contract is done, right? By the time this contract is done, the Knicks will be at that point where this $19 million will be able to get us something that brings us over the top, right? If you stretch him, I know a lot of people say to stretch Joakim Noah. If you stretch him, now you're stretching this out, and you got $5 to $7 million over the next 5 years coming off of your salary cap. That'll hurt us even more. So we might as well wait, let this expire. Then in the summer of 2020, which is 2 years away, we have $19 million plus whoever else comes off the books to spend. And so that's the year that we can. I think that's the year that we can look and say, okay, we got some really solid pieces in place. Now we got all this money to spend. Let's see what we can put together to put us over the top. So this is the year that I think we should be looking at. This is the not the year. This is the year we should be looking at to say, okay, we're here. Let's we can do some things. We can make some noise, like some real noise. Not just getting the playoffs, but we can make some real noise in the East. Because we would have developed our young players. KP would be just entering the beginning of his prime at this point. Frank would have grown up a little bit. Hopefully Dougie Fresh would be here, and he would have grown up a little bit. And then we have a bunch of money to spend to put us over the top. So, this is the off season that I'm looking forward to right here. This is the off season of 2020 that I'm really looking forward to. Wheels, good win for the Knicks, but it was obvious that OKC missed Steven Adams in the post. If Adams was on the court, Knicks would have had a hard time winning this game. Maybe. You might be right. But in the same vein, we were missing KP. So, we can also say if KP was there, he would have gave just as much or more trouble than Steven Adams. Do we know why Steven Adams was out? Was it just a rest night? I really didn't get anything pre-game. Did he just need a break because they played 3 overtime games last night? Keep Noah, let him retire as a Knick, as a coach or as a player, because he hasn't given us anything much. He hasn't given us much this year. I'm not sure what he's going to give us in the future. He might, playoff time come around, he might be someone that we can utilize. We need more athletic players to defend, to preserve. Exactly, James. We definitely need more athletic guys out there. We don't have a lot of athletes, pure athletes on the team. We need some more. That's one of the reasons why I really wanted Dotson to be able to perform and get out there, because he's athletic, and we need guys like that on the floor that's just all over the place, got their hands everywhere, jumping for rebounds. It bothers teams, when you have guys like that on the floor. I want to give a shout out. I see a bunch of new people in here that I haven't seen in here before, so I want to give a shout out to you guys. I haven't, I haven't caught everyone's name, but thank you guys for joining in. Hopefully you continue to join in. So I just want to give a shout out to everyone that's new. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yes, Frank needs it. Yeah. I seen someone say Tony Parker teaching Frank. Tony Parker, I doubt Tony Parker's leaving San Antonio. He's been there his whole career. I just don't see him leaving. Would he be a great teacher for Frank? Yeah, he would. He's been there. He's won championships. He knows how to play the kind of game that Frank is accustomed to playing. And excuse me, guys. The kind of game that Frank is accustomed to playing, and the kind of game that Frank will probably be playing throughout his career. But I don't think that Tony Parker's leaving San Antonio. I wouldn't. He's retiring. He's going to retire a Spur. You look at what they've done for guys like Ginobili. They treat their players right. They do what's right. He's going to retire a Spur. From Vietnam. Okay. Yes, sir. Sir Patrick. Appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Now, okay. Yeah, yeah. In the offseason, Beyond the Grave 91, Tony Parker can teach Frank in the offseason the way Dirk helped KP in the offseason. Yep. That'd be great. You know, if someone could reach out to Tony Parker and say, hey, work with this kid. Or they, I'm sure they know each other. London, peace from France. Yes, sir. I like it. Robert Brown, Mark Jackson knows how to rebuild. Look at Golden State. I agree, he does. But like I was saying earlier, I would like for the Knicks to. We need to stay consistent, right? Because in order for this team to develop and become that 55, 60 win team, like someone mentioned earlier, we got to have some consistency. The players have got to stay in the same system, play in the same system, become familiar with the system. Why do you think Tony Parker and the Spurs have been so successful for so many years? You had the same coach, the same core players, Parker, Duncan, Ginobili, so when you get to that point, the system and where guys are on the floor, things guys are doing becomes second nature. You don't have to think about the game as much. You don't have to think about, is Timmy going to be here? Is Ginobili going to be here? Where are they going to be on the floor? What are they going to do? You don't have to think about that, right? You can just go out there and play. You know where they're going to be. And that's the reason why the Spurs are so successful. And I think right now, with the Knicks doing what they're doing and Hornacek coaching the way he's coaching, I don't think it's not the time to make any kind of a change. Now is the time to see where this thing can go, and try to develop that consistency. Yes, we got to stop that revolving door. You see that? 84 teammates for Melo. Think about that. 84 teammates, 5 coaches. And how many different general managers did he have? He had Don Nelson. What's his name? I forgot his name. In between Don Nelson and Phil Jackson. Like 3 different general managers. You don't have no kind of consistency there. It's time to start building that consistency. One more, Jersey Shore 74. I'll say it one more time. Consistency is the key. And I don't mean to do the Obama thing, but consistency is the key. Next year is Hornacek's last year. Oh, the last year on his contract, he needs to earn a new contract. He'll need to earn a new contract, but I think they see the guys are playing hard. They see the guys playing together. I think he's safe for right now because they're doing well. The Unicorns next. He says Simeon we should thank Phil for what he did, or is it too early? Well, I think, I know there's a lot of people that don't want to give Phil credit for anything. And I think Phil let his ego get in the way of the idea that he had. I think he had the right ideas, right? Of getting the right kind of players, building with young players that want to play defense, that play basketball the right way, that fit inside of a system. Now, was his system the kind of system that we needed in today's game? Arguably not. But I do understand. Yes, Glenn Grunwald. Yeah. But I do understand what he's saying. We need a philosophy, a basketball philosophy, so that when we go out and we're finding players, we can find players that fit into our philosophy, our style of play. And it's arguable on whether or not his style of play was conducive to today's game. Some will say yeah, some will say no. But his ideas were right. Regardless of the system, I think his ideas were right. His philosophy of how you should play basketball was right. His ego got in the way. He didn't want to be flexible enough to say, okay, maybe the triangle isn't what we need, but as long as we're playing in a system and that promotes the type of basketball philosophy I believe in, I'm cool with it. He wanted it to be his system that made it successful, and I think that's where he went wrong. And then, of course, his ego got in the way with the whole Melo thing. But he did draft Porzingis. Frank was a good pick, and he might still be. But think about it. He got Hernan Gomez in the second round. We didn't even have a second-round pick that year. He bought it from Philly. So at least we have an asset there. He brought in Kylo Quinn. So he brought in some players that he signed Courtney Lee. So he did bring in some players that are producing for us right now. We can't kill him for everything. Now, I seen someone, I think it was Robert Brown, say that Frank isn't ready for the NBA. I disagree. I think that Frank is ready for the NBA. He's going to have his up and downs like any rookie. I mean, why do you say he's not ready for the NBA? I'd like to, whoever said it, I think it was Robert. Whoever said it, I'd just like you to just explain a little bit why you say he's not ready for the NBA, and then we'll come back to it. And I also saw someone say that you need very specific players for the system that the knowledge seeker for the triangle. Yeah, you do. You need specific players. The one thing I'll say is this about the triangle. The way the game is going today, where players are versatile at every position, that is actually what the triangle is. And you see some triangle action in what we do now. When we throw the ball into the high post and you got guys slashing to the basket off that high post, that's some triangle action. Of course, you see triangle action all over the league. But the triangle really is about having versatile players that can interchange at different system, at different positions and on the floor, but the one thing I'll say is it was so predictable. You knew every time down the floor what was going to happen, and I think that really hurts the triangle. We do play some triangle now. We definitely play some triangle. But, when we were really trying to play the triangle last year and the year before, we were so predictable. You throw the ball into that high post. Point guard runs over into the corner. I mean, it was super predictable. Everyone knew exactly what was going to happen. And it's probably because we hadn't grasped everything that you could do off of it. We didn't have the kind of players that were going to grasp it, especially last year. But it's very predictable. And, the way we're playing now is perfect, though. You're going to throw some triangle action in there, run a few, you throw some triangle action in there and then mix it in with an up-tempo pace with some high pick and roll action. That's how you got to play. You got to mix it up and keep defenses guessing. We should have signed Gerald Green. That could have been a good signing. He's been around the league. He's good. He wouldn't have been a future guy for us. I think Gerald Green is about 30 years old now. Wouldn't have been a future guy for us. But, he would have probably helped us. But since we're talking about triangle, the triangle and different types of offenses that players fit into, let's get into this stars versus chemistry. because I see so many people say that we need to tank this year because we need to get another star. Like a number one pick is a guaranteed star. A number one pick isn't a guaranteed star. But we saw tonight a group of role players. I don't want to say obliterate because we didn't obliterate them, but we played a strong, confident game, a very strong, confident game against a team of stars, right? Look at our starting lineup tonight. Jarrett Jack, role player. Courtney Lee, role player. Lance Thomas, role player. Michael Beasley, role player. His role is to score, but he's a role player. And as Kanter, role player, right? These guys are all role players. And then, of course, we already know who OKC has. Westbrook, Melo, Paul George. 3 stars in the league, right? The three-headed monster. Stars with no chemistry. Role players with chemistry. And we won the game convincingly. Okay? Now, am I saying that you don't need stars at all? No, of course you do. You need guys that can, and when it gets down into those moments, those crunch time moments, guys that can go get you a bucket. You need those guys that can bully their way to the basket and just go take it. You need those guys that other teams fear. You got to have that. But you don't got to have 3 of them. You don't have to have 3 Hall of Famers on a team to win. You can have 2, and then you might have a guy or maybe another guy that one year is an all-star, one year isn't an all-star, or that you have him at that point in his career where he's playing on that all-star level, But if you're playing a team game, truly playing a team game, moving the ball, guys moving without the ball, playing team defense, so much we cry about one person not playing defense. But if the team is playing defense in a team defensive style, right, then everyone is there. The defense is on the string. Everyone is there playing together. So you can't blame one person, and that's what you need on a team. You need that team chemistry, offensively, defensively. I don't care if you have stars or you don't have stars. You've seen it tonight. A team of role players that have chemistry took out a team of stars that didn't have chemistry. Now, you take a team of role players that have chemistry, and then you add 1 or 2 stars in there that can that know how to play with chemistry, and understand that when we get down, when it gets down to those crunch time minutes, maybe I'm gonna need to take over at that point, right? Maybe if the game is going that way. So then you have stars that can fit in that way, and you build a championship team. When you're looking at teams like the Warriors and the Spurs, Spurs style basketball. That's what they are, right? You have guys that are, and this is what happens. I just cut myself off, I know, but this is what happens. You have a team that plays together as an actual team, and they play with chemistry, and they work hard, like Tony is saying. All of a sudden, because the team does well, these guys become all-stars. And then everyone wants to say, oh, well, they got a team full of all-stars. No wonder why they're winning. No. The team created the all-stars. See, when everybody wins, when a team wins, everybody wins. everybody gets a piece of the action. Everyone gets some love, and then everybody gets the recognition. And that's why you see a lot of players that they play in a team concept, they excel, and then they go out and get that big contract, but they can't live up to it because they're not playing in that same team concept where they fit perfectly snug in their little spot, and they know exactly where to get what they could get. All of a sudden, they go to another team, and they can't do those same things. So the chemistry of a team is so important. It's maybe arguably the most important factor of a team. You have teams, like we're seeing with OKC, that just can't get it together, that they just can't, they just don't mesh. You look at the New York Giants this year, right? They had a lot of talent, but they couldn't put it together. They couldn't bring it together as a team this year, although they had talent. Now, of course, they were missing an offensive line and a running back, but they couldn't put it together. And we see it. We seen it last year with Derrick Rose, KP, and Melo. They just weren't guys that fit together. You're seeing it with OKC. This. How can these guys fit together? One of those guys, when one of those guys have to say, okay, I'm going to be a role player between Melo, Paul George, and Westbrook, and it's probably got to be Melo. When LeBron, Wade, and Chris Bosh got together, what really made that work, even though it was rocky, was that LeBron is the kind of guy that's willing to pass the ball. Chris Bosh had to take a seat and kind of become a role player a little bit, a glorified role player, so that LeBron and D Wade, they could control the game. So it's very hard to have a team of like 3 stars the way that Westbrook, Paul George, and Melo were, ball dominant stars to do it. So, to win. So, we'll definitely take chemistry over stars, then sprinkle a few stars in there, and that's how you build. This team that we have right now reminds me of the Warriors when they were really young, and it. Although they don't play the exact same game, they don't have a Steph Curry on the team. Steph Curry wasn't that Steph Curry back then, though. I'm just saying, in the way that we're bringing talent together, they're young, they have the kind of they have chemistry. I'm just saying in that aspect, not that they play the same kind of game. Ralph Lewis, if Frank can pick up the court vision of Jack along the way, yeah, buddy, yeah, and hopefully, I think he has that court vision a little bit. I think that he can see the floor well. Sometimes, he just has to, he doesn't take many chances. And, when he learns to take a few more chances, he'll get better. He may make some mistakes out there, but he'll get better with it. Frank is going to be all right. He's going to be good because Frank, he has a lot of talent, but he's also humble, and he's willing to be one of those. He's willing to be a role player one night and a starter next night. Ralph, you said, what we're going to do about Noah? I think we're going to keep him. Not much we can do about Noah right now. He's, his contract is crazy. We actually just looked at his contract. His contract is crazy. So it's not much we can do with him. We'll probably just keep him until his contract runs out. And then in that summer, that's going to be the summer that we really look to take that leap into the upper echelon of the league. That's my opinion. I wish we got rid of that bum Sessions instead of Kuz. Well, I would say this. Right now, Kuz, has he been picked up? I don't think Kuz has even been picked up. So if Sessions was waived, I guarantee you Sessions would have been picked up. So I don't know if I'm not sure. I don't know. He's definitely not. He's not giving us anything right now. There may come a time when we need him. But if not, and we think Trey Burke, the team thinks Trey Burke can give us more. He makes what, $2 million a year. You can cut your losses easy with him. I think they'll give it some time to see what goes on with Jarrett Jack, though. And that's the reason why they kept with Jarrett Jack. That's the reason why they kept Sessions, because Jarrett Jack may not be able to stay playing at this level throughout the whole year. So you might need a vet like Sessions to come in at some point. There's a guy that's going to be a second round. I didn't see that. I kind of missed it. If you could type that in again, Asante, I think that's your name. Asante, if you can type that in about the guy that's in the second round, I'd like to read what that was. I'm not able to go back right now and pull it back up. If you can type that in again, though, I'd like to read it. You said, what's my favorite plays to use? Well, I run with my guys. Now, of course, AAU is different than the NBA, obviously. I run an offense that I call circle. And part of the reason is because in AAU leagues, man, there's not a lot of big guys to go around. Most of my teams are always small, guard-oriented. Right now, I coach girls. Up until last year, I coached the boys. And coaching the boys, my tallest player would be 6'6" or 6'7". And I'd be going up against teams that had 6'10", 6'11" guys. And, but all of my guys could handle the ball. So we'd have point guards sometimes that were 5'10", 5'11", and then our center might be anywhere between 6'4" and 6'7", and but could handle the ball. So we ran a 5-out offense. Basically a pass, cut, go opposite the way you pass the ball. If you don't get the ball, when the ball comes around, if you don't get it, you don't stand there waiting, jumping around, tapping your feet for the ball. You continue to cut. So we were constantly on the move. And off of it, though, we would get natural curls to the basket. Sometimes we'd keep it, we'd go 4 out, 1 in, and the guy in was setting screens on the guys cutting to the basket. So you had a lot of screens coming off the ball. So we ran that kind of fluid offense to keep things moving. Against zones, it depended on what kind of zone. If it was like a 2-3 zone, we were always opposite. 2-3 zone, we had 3 guards, 2 guys down low, exiting it up in the middle, overloading one side of the floor. If it was like a 1-3-1 or a 1-2-2, we'd have 2 guards up top, three guys down in the paint, 1 guy running the baseline, so that we could go opposite of what they had down along the baseline area. So, a few different things that we did. We barely ran ISO unless we really had a mismatch. If we really had a mismatch, then we'd run a little bit of ISO. But that's basically what we ran. And I did a lot of trapping. Because we were small, we couldn't always rebound with some of these big teams. So the way that we would negate the rebounding edge for the other team was to press them, right? Because if we pressed them, then we could create turnovers. We could score off of easy turnovers, right? And so you negate the rebounding edge that the other team would have, because then when they did break the press, they'd come up, pull up a quick shot. Most of the time, the guys were out of position to rebound. and we can get the ball and break down the other way. So that's basically what I ran. And then a lot of it is based on the players that you have. You kind of gotta you want to have the same type of philosophies, but work. You got to work with the players you have using your philosophy, and then putting things that fit the players. So that's basically what I did. Can you please answer this? Does this team remind you of the 2011 team with Amari? It is similar. You know why it's similar? Because that team with Amari, we had Felton, we had Danilo Gallinari, we had Wilson Chandler, we had Amari. We had young guys that were working together and playing together. And you had Mike D'Antoni, who had that up tempo, spread out offense. So I think Daniel, it does really, it does kind of remind me of that 2011 team. We're a little bit younger than that team, a little bit younger as far as the stars are concerned. I think Amari was about 27 when he came to that team. Raymond Felton was maybe 26 or 27. Then you had, of course, Gallinari and Wilson Chandler. They were a little bit younger. But the star, Amari being the star was a little bit older. But yes, it definitely reminds me of that team. Just in, having young players playing up tempo, playing together. It definitely reminds me of that team. What's your favorite play for the Knicks that we should run all the time? Well, I don't think I have a favorite play, like one play. I like the fact that we are in constant movement. And when you're in constant movement, anything can open up. See, when you're playing a team game, most of the time in the NBA, I'm sure there's going to be plays. When you come out of timeouts, you might run a play off of out of the inbounds. When you're taking the ball from out of bounds, you might run a play. But most of the time in the NBA, you're going to run sets. And then you have different actions that happen off of those sets, right? I'll tell you one of the most popular sets in the NBA is horns. Okay, so a horn set is when you have two of your, maybe your 5 and your 4 man at the free throw line, and then you have two of your 3 down on the wings, right? So that's horns. All right, and you can picture why it's horns, because you got, two guys right up here at the elbows and two guys down in the corners. And the guard usually lobs the ball into one of the high posts, goes down and sets the screen to one of the guys on the elbow. To one of the guys in the corner. The guy in the corner curls off. The guy at the high post looks to, get it to the guy curling off of the screen. If you guys can understand what I just said, I'll say it again. You got two guys in the high post. Picture the high post here. And then you got two guys down here in the corner. My hands just went out the screen, but that's the guys in the corner. The point guard throws it into the high post, goes down to the corner and sets a screen. When he sets the screen, the person that's in the corner curls off the screen. The guy that's in the high post looks to get it to him crawling off the screen. Right? If he can't get it to him crawling off the screen, the guard is coming back around from the corner, so that they can maybe do a little bit of handoff action, 2-man game. And then, of course, you got some action going on the other side of the floor, right? That's one of the most popular sets in the league. We see that a lot as well with this team. When Dougie gets a lot of those cuts from the baseline to dunks, that's out of, it's not always a horn set, but that play that I just described, where the ball gets passed into that pinch post at elbow, and we see a screen set for Dougie in the corner. Um, that's I like when we do that. I like to see Tony Crow just said the pick and pop with KP. I think that is that's definitely one of our staple plays that I like to see. Um, there are a few in there. This is what I'm going to do because that was a really good question. And so that we can see it a little bit more. When I do my next video that's not live, well, I'm not going to say next one. One of the videos that I do that's not live, I'm going to look at and just break down some of the offenses that we do that are really effective for us that I like to see a lot. So thank you for that question. Really good question. And I'm definitely going to do that. You just gave me an idea for another show. Thank you. Cole, what's up? You say, yo, Sin, what's going on, man? Cole Vertis, what's up? Yeah, Daniel, we're really bad at pick and roll defense. We need to work on that. Double curl with Dougie and Lee around the point guard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Robert, getting Dougie fresh was definitely a blessing, man. He really does add to all of our screening roll. I'm sorry, cutting off the ball, moving without the ball. He adds to it, and the fact that he does it so well, and guys look for him, it encourages everyone else to do it, man. So he's been great for us. Imagine if we had more athletic guys making those cuts. Yeah, imagine. The thing is, can we get guys that will be able to make those cuts? There's so much that goes into basketball. And sometimes, you get guys and they're athletic and you say, well, we can teach them to make that cut. And maybe they can cut, but they don't know when to cut. Or they don't know how to do it as effective as some of the guys that aren't as athletic. So, we looking at it's great that we have a system that's working. Because then now when we go out and we're drafting guys, we can look and see, can they actually grasp what we do and can they execute it? So you don't always have to go and get just, this guy is the best, he can jump the highest. You can get the guy that can actually do what you want him to do. But Dougie's been great. What do I think about Steven Adams hypothetically paired with Porzingis? I think that's the kind of that kind of pairing works, right? Steven Adams is a rebounder. He's tough. Porzingis can spread the floor. That's the type of pairing that works. I think it would look similar to what we see with Kanter and KP. Yeah. Greek Freak is a perfect fit for the Knicks. Yeah, too perfect to happen. Clever Wise, definitely. It's too perfect to happen. He'd fit into, just imagine having the Greek Freak at the 3, KP at the 4, Kanter at the 5. We'd be long. We'd be unstoppable. That's why I say it's too perfect to happen. We'd be unstoppable. Dotson and Frank are coming. I hope so, but we can't count out Ron Baker though. Now, from what we see, Baker is playing, man. He's doing it, playing defense, shooting the ball. But Dotson will get his, Kenny. It'll come. It'll happen. And he's an athlete as well, so I think it'll happen. Yeah, definitely got to have players that combine into the system. You want Aaron Gordon at small forward. He's the prototype kind of guy that we would want there. You know what I'm saying? He's athletic. He does play defense. He can get up and down the floor. He's one of those guys that he's aggressive. Yeah, he'd be nice there. Jeff Green would actually be great for the Knicks. Jeff Green he'd be nice there, and in that 3 spot. He's a little bit older. We'd probably be looking for somebody a little bit younger to be there, but he's the prototype. He's the prototype kind of guy you want there. Ron has that Nick factor. Ron Baker definitely has that the toughness that we want in a that takes us back to like the 90s, right? He's just a tough guy, and he plays tough defense. I'm keeping that, Daniel. I remember it. I'm remembering it. Julius Randle. I'm gonna keep my eyes out for that, because it could be, he could fit. Now, I know when we were speaking about it earlier, you said that he would be starting. My question would be, who would he start over? If we were to bring Julius Randle here, or if it wasn't you, Daniel, it was someone, who would he start over? I mean, he's definitely not starting over KP. So my question is, where would he fit? Yeah, I mean, I agree. He's perfect. Isn't he more of a power forward than a 3, though? You say he can play 3 positions. I'm assuming those 3 positions are small forward, power forward, and center. How tall is he, and how big is he? Because I thought he was more of a power forward, but I could be wrong. I haven't paid that much attention to him, but I do know he can ball. Exactly. Crow. Knicks have to be careful who we add to the team. Definitely. I want to talk about the Charlotte Hornets. We got the Charlotte Hornets coming up. We go to Charlotte, right? So we need to pull out another road win. We've run 4 in a row. We're on a 4-game win streak. We need to keep this going, because after we play Charlotte, we play Boston at home. We need to extend this to a 5-game win streak. Get some more space in our record, moving from 16-13 to 17-13, right? Starting to pull apart a little bit. So we need, I feel like this is a big win for us. This should be a big I feel like this is a big game for us. Right now, Charlotte they've lost 2 in a row. They score 104.5 points per game. They give up 106.6 points per game. They're a good rebounding team, about 47 rebounds a game, 46.9, about 20.2 assists. Of course, we got to deal with Kemba. He's a problem, and he's a little bit different of a problem than Russell Westbrook, because he's a little bit smaller, a little bit faster. Even though Russell Westbrook is more aggressive, Kemba is tough to deal with. Looking at this game, let's look at these guys a little bit. Anybody know? Yes, yeah, he's a little bit smarter than Russ. Exactly, Daniel. He plays a little bit more of the point guard role than Russ does, right? Yeah, they've been doing bad lately. They haven't been playing well lately, but we need to definitely, like you said, we need to focus on this win. They're a good rebounding team. If Kanter is the sit, because they got Dwight Howard, we're going to have to deal with the boards, right? They average, like we said, 46.9 rebounds a game. That's they're a decent rebounding team, and we need to keep them off the boards. They're historically a good defensive team. pretty aggressive at times. But lately we've been able to handle those aggressive teams playing defense. Let's see, what is Dwight Howard even doing nowadays? Dwight Howard, 16 points, 12 rebounds. I mean, yeah, we got to be able to. We're gonna have to be able to deal with him. We're gonna have to watch the screen and roll. We don't want to get killed off the screen and roll. Dwight Howard's not gonna kill us in the post. He can score in the post. He's not gonna kill us in the post. But we're gonna have to, deal with that screen and roll a little bit. We're gonna have to be able to guard that. We don't want Dwight Howard getting hot, getting oops at the rim. Small ball might give them fits. It might, especially if you can take KP, get him out on the perimeter with Howard guarding him out on the perimeter. Try to get Howard in foul trouble a little bit, right? Try to tire him out. Get Howard tired out by running KP as long as he's playing, running KP off of screens. Instead of just trying to get KP to post up, to get into that pinch post and score. Keep him on the move. Run that pick and pop, run that screen and roll. If you went small, and have Howard tire him out a little bit. But then of course we got to deal with at the other end. And although KP is long, we don't want him to get in foul trouble either. So we have to think about it. And you have to be strategic with it. Howard's been playing in crossovers this season. Haven't seen him that much. If he is, I don't know. I think I might have seen him go to the basket a couple of times from maybe that pinch post area, maybe a little further out. Yeah, so, Howard's always a beast to deal with down there. If Kanter is out, Noah would be a good guy to bring in. He knows how to play defense on Howard. Howard's not going to take us too far out on the perimeter. I don't care how much last summer or this summer he's been working on his three-point shot. He's not taking us out like that. So, this could be a game if Kanter were to sit out. It doesn't sound like it's going to happen. But if he were to sit out, this would be a good game for Noah to maybe get some burn, because he would match up good against Howard. Nice size, can bang with him, not going to be intimidated by him, of course. That would be – it'd be nice to see Noah to get some minutes if Kanter is out. Okay. Let's go back. Let's take a look. Let's see what let's see what Kemba's doing nowadays. I mean, you always know what Kemba's doing. He's always killing, but 22.6 assists a game. Kemba's always killing. He shoots 42% from the field, 35% from three. We really got to keep him out the lane. That's going to be tough. Jarrett Jack, I think, is going to have trouble with him, keeping him out the lane, of course. You probably again, you might see Courtney Lee, just like Courtney Lee was on Westbrook today. You might see Courtney Lee on Kemba. Kemba's a little smaller though, so I don't know. Kemba's a tough matchup, man. He's just a tough matchup. But we definitely got to watch that Kemba Walker, Dwight Howard screen and roll. We don't want Dwight Howard getting hot at the basket. Who else we got to worry about? Of course, they got Malik Monk. We got to deal with this matchup again. We got to, hear some more of these stories, about Malik Monk and Frank Ntilikina and all this kind of stuff, whatever. There's not too many guys that I fear from this team besides Kemba. I just hate playing against Kemba. You said if we don't have Tim Hardaway Jr. ready against Charlotte, we're losing. I don't think Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to be ready. He's not going to be here for this game. I haven't heard anything, but I think Hardaway's going to be out for a little bit. Yeah, he did. Yep, that was at the Garden. Monk had a huge game against us earlier this season. This time it's going to be in Charlotte. They're going to be looking. They're going to be looking for a little bit of revenge, get us back. We're a superior team. We should be able to go and take care of this one, but we're young, so we can't. We can't guarantee anything. Let's see what they did their last game. I just want to see. Did they play tonight? They played tonight. They lost to the Blazers 93-91. Blazers are a good team. So they fought them tooth and nail, obviously. Let's look at let's check out. Let's see. Who are they starting? Michael Kidd, Gilchrist, Marvin Williams, Dwight Howard, Nicholas Batum, and Kemba Walker. Okay, so Batum is back. That changes the game a little bit because Batum wasn't there the first time we played him. So this definitely changes the game. Batum had 23 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. That changes the game. Kemba tonight, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Howard, 9 points, 15 rebounds. Said Malik Monk hasn't been in the rotation. Nope. 0 minutes for Malik Monk tonight. None. And that's for a team that has what are they? 10 and whatever. 10 and 19 now. Something like that. Jeremy Lamb. Man, that's another OKC guy, man. Jeremy Lamb, another OKC guy. So, yeah, this right here, I'm concerned about that there. Nicholas Batum. Because, he didn't play last game. He's here. He's going to be when do we play him? We play them on Monday. So, he'll be there. That's going to be a tough matchup for us. We'll probably see we'll see Frank play Nicholas Batum a little bit, I think. Keys to the game, I think we're going to have to keep he might be one of the best overall players in the league, man. Keys to the game, I think we're going to have to we definitely have to keep Kemba out the we got to keep Kemba out the paint. We got to guard that screen and roll. Right? We got to definitely take care of the ball, not let these guys get out on the break. Because if you got Nicholas Batum, Kemba Walker, Jeremy Lamb, you got them guys running, we'll be in trouble. We let them get out there running. We've been taking care of the ball. We've been taking care of the ball the last few games. So, we got to make sure that we keep these guys under wraps. Take care of the ball. Don't let them get out running, because if we do, we might be in trouble. Yeah. Well, and then we got to make sure that we're doing our thing on the boards. We play good defense. We got to finish it with a rebound. Get out and try to get down the floor. It's going to be a fight on the boards with Howard there. You see him, 15 rebounds tonight. He's averaging, 11, 12 rebounds a game. So we got to try to fight with him on the boards, make sure we're getting our share of rebounds, and keep the ball moving. Keep playing our style of offense, make them move. Tire them out at all positions. And then sometimes go small a little bit, try to get Howard in a little bit of foul trouble, try to get him guarding KP on the perimeter. Not a whole lot, but just enough to try to bother Dwight Howard. Okay. But listen, guys, it's been great talking with you. It is 12:12. it's getting late. I'm going to go ahead and sign this one off. I will definitely be on Monday night to talk about whatever happens in the game. We played a great game tonight. Again, to everybody that's new that I haven't seen on before, I'm glad you came on. Please come back Monday night. Check my community. I'm trying to get some people talking in the community. So if you're on the computer, go into the community and just make some comments about things. I like to talk throughout the days while we're not while we're waiting for the game to come on, waiting for a new game. But hey, it's cool, man. Don't worry about it. Big props to you. Out saving lives. I'm with you. It's way more important than talk about the New York Knicks, What do you do? Michael, what do you do? New sub. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm working on, I would like to do, I don't know how many of you guys do videos, if you do any kind of videos about the Knicks, but something that I want to do is I want to do some collaboration, a collaboration playlist. And, where if you guys do videos about the Knicks, you guys can add to it. I'll let you know when that's up. But I'm out of here. I'm going to hit you up. Okay, definitely will. Oh, you're a paramedic. Okay, great. Well, you know what? Thank you for saving lives. Keep doing what you're doing, brother, because it's important. It's important that you're out there saving lives, taking care of us. Much respect to you all day. All right. I'm out, everyone. I do have an account on Instagram, but I'm not really on it like that. But I'm starting to. I'm on Twitter. I'm gonna get on Instagram, and I'm looking at doing some stuff on Facebook too. If anyone's on Facebook, But I'm out, and I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Peace.